which way do you go with your Auburn if not this way?
This was always the plan for Bruce.
Anywhere he goes, his son goes, right?
When you try to do it as the assistant, it's not always met the same way.
It's so much pressure that they left his son as the head coach. Are you surprised?
He can adapt to whatever situation you throw at him, and he's going to turn that program into a winner. I don't love that part of it. He's open to criticism for that. I understand why he did it. The one thing I will warn is that...
Chad, how long have rumors been circulating about Bruce Pearl and politics? At least a year, right?
I mean, look no further than his hits with Dan Dockich on this network. I mean, what is he talking about when he comes on with Dan? Is it Israel and Hamas?
It's anything you want to ask.
Or is it the starting front court for the Auburn Tigers basketball team this upcoming season?
Well, it's not the front
I think
court.
anyone could put two and two together and say this guy was headed for a future in politics.
Yeah, and it wasn't hard to find that out.
No.
Right? It's also no secret that, well, anywhere he goes, his son goes, right?
Yeah.
Stephen Pearl's now the head coach at Auburn. And Bruce Pearl stepped aside. He retires as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I was surprised. It's always jarring when you see it. The Saban news shocked me when it came down, when it did. But I knew that he wasn't long for a world of college football coaching in the NIL world where players had a lot more leverage. And as he said in the announcement, guys are coming to me right after a loss to Michigan in the playoff talking about money and if they're going to stay. And I'm just thinking, what? I'm not doing this. So that didn't surprise me. If Mike Gundy up and retired, he's going to get fired regardless because they're awful. But if he retired because he said, I just can't deal with this anymore and I'm not cut out for this world, that wouldn't surprise me. Bruce Pearl was flourishing in an NIL world. I mean, he can adapt to whatever situation you throw at him, and he's going to turn that program into a winner. He did it at Southern Indiana. He did it at Wisconsin, Milwaukee. He did it immediately at Tennessee. It took a little time at Auburn, but once he got his program implemented, they were a perennial player on the national stage. So did I know it was going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years? Yeah. And that politics would be in his future. Was I a little bit surprised when I saw it yesterday? Not at all. Hutton, was I surprised at all when I saw that he was handing over the job to his son, Steve Pearl? No. Not in the least.
I like how you went with Steve.
I think that was, you
become head coach, you're Steve.
Yeah, I think when he wins an SEC title, he becomes Steven. When you are a Nepo baby and you are handed a job and an opportunity, right? Like, had Steve Pearl gone to UAB and had success as a head coach and then comes back to Auburn after 2 or 3 years after leaving the nest? Yeah, you leave your father, you leave the nest, like biblical days. The son shall leave the parents and go and take a bride and start their own home. If Steve Pearl had left Father Bruce and gone somewhere and done something at a different program, then he would be Stephen Pearl to me at that point. But Hutton, I say that in jest and joking. I don't think Stephen Pearl is going to do a good job at Auburn. I'll say that and go on the record. I hope I'm wrong, could be wrong. But this was always the plan for Bruce. It was always the plan for him to hand over the reins to his son. I just wish, in a perfect world, Stephen would have left at some point, had the opportunity to go be a head coach at a lower level, done some things, even if just for a season or two, and then this decision comes down. And, oh, by the way, we have a natural successor in someone who's now got some head coaching experience in Steve Pearl, and we're going to put the N back in there and make him Stephen Pearl now because now he's the head coach of your Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, and he's been, like you said, he's been very outspoken politically with, of course, Don't Have Me with Dan Dockich and other spots, including social media. He's been very, and the recruits keep going to Auburn. The success is there. Players win when they play for Bruce Pearl. And, there's been rumors linked to political interest in replacing Senator Tommy Tuberville, for instance, is one of those.
Two great friends of OutKick.
That's right.
Tommy Tuberville and Bruce Pearl.
And it's the outspoken political
can all do the math on
comments.
This.
That's right. You're right.
Of what's to come.
The political comments that, Michael Wilbon says is the real reason that Pearl is out.
Tony, he become a divisive person, it seems to me, intentionally, and I hope there was pressure to just get him out.
Really?
Yeah.
I always liked him. He was such a great guest.
Yeah, he was a great guest, and pressure to get him out. So much pressure that they left his son as the head coach of the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah, he hopes there was pressure to get him out. That is not reality at all.
And he's still a ambassador to a special assistant to the athletic director is his title. Chad, you put on social because Bruce Pearl doesn't share Michael Wilbon's views. He is now divisive, and he hopes Auburn pushed him out. It's so weak from someone I thought was tougher than this. Agreed. To automatically go down this path. This is, Wilbon was hoping he would be pushed out. But it's not like you can spin it to where you think Auburn wanted Bruce Pearl out. There's just the players the players speak on that behalf. They love playing for Bruce Pearl. Just ask them. It wasn't like they, in the locker room there was some just disdain for the guy who wanted to let his feelings be known about what was right.
I mean, he just went to the Final Four.
I know.
He's taken Auburn basketball to 2 Final Fours. He's won 7 SEC titles in his time at all. I mean, come on. No one was pushing him out. He was at the height of his game. He was having a ton of success. And it's just typical BS. Because does Michael Wilbon saying that the Golden State Warriors should fire Steve Kerr for being divisive because he has a certain political viewpoint on things? No. He's not saying that, nor do I think that Steve Kerr should be fired for having certain political viewpoints. We're just so freaking soft. Like now, because he disagrees with me politically or ideologically, or he's speaking up for Israel or whatever it is that he's doing that makes you mad, Michael Wilbon, all of a sudden now he's divisive. And I hope he was forced out because he said something I disagree with, and that's divisive, and we can't have division, especially when he's sparking the flames of division, so he should have been forced out. Give me a break. Nobody's forcing Bruce Pearl out. And just because he doesn't agree with you doesn't mean that he should be pushed out.
Right. Portnoy saying the same thing, echoing the sentiment there.
It's just really weak from a guy considered to be tough.
As was
because I've liked Michael Wilbon over the years.
Well, now, I still think he is.
Be tougher than this.
I still think he is. I just think in this case, it's just it's a reach over it's a flippant comment that has nothing to do with the story of himself, especially with the details of this. Pushed out because of because he's divisive, but Steve Pearl remains in that just doesn't track.
Well, he's not saying he was pushed out. He's saying, I hope he was pushed out for that. Of course he wasn't pushed out.
That's what I'm saying.
He announced his... Now, we can also get into the timing of this announcement.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And
which is...
Let's be fair here. We're all big Bruce Pearl fans. I thought that 14-minute video of his send-off, I can't imagine scripting anything more beautiful than that goodbye. That was amazing. I don't know if he's reading a teleprompter or not. It didn't look like he was. It was an incredible send-off. And I'm thinking, how are they going to do this for 14 minutes?
Well, you know what I'm thinking.
When he's sitting at the desk.
Politician.
Yes. And he's sitting at the desk doing it for 14. Absolutely. But 14 minutes of that, it was really well done, and I was captivated by all of it.
What about the handoff of the basketball?
So great job by him. A little cheesy, the handoff of the basketball.
Because of Steve.
But understandably, that's the part that I kind of bothered me with it. But understandable how they would want to go about doing that. But let's also be fair on this show. Everyone criticized Tony Bennett. And college basketball fans love Tony Bennett. But they criticized him a year ago for retiring right before the season to ensure that Ron Sanchez took over, when he knew full well his heart was not in it and he did not want to be a coach, and he drug his feet until right before the season, and then that happened. Hutton, there's only really one example of this where a coach intentionally retires or resigns right before a season in college basketball to hand off to ensure that their successor gets the job and that no one on that team leaves. Because let's also say this is sort of a sneaky thing where you're not announcing to your recruits or incoming transfers or anyone else, hey, guys, there's a chance I'm going to retire right before the season. No one knew that. So you make sure they're on campus. You make sure they're ready to go for the season. And on the day before practice starts, you announce your retirement. That's sneaky. That's a sneaky move to make sure that Steve Pearl gets his team that he wants. So I don't love that part of it. He's open to criticism for that. I understand why he did it, but let's also criticize Bruce Pearl and be consistent the same way Tony Bennett was criticized. There's only one instance where I can think of this actually kind of worked. Dean Smith retired 2 weeks before a season started. And he just said, my heart's not in it. I want to spend more time with my family. I'm getting older, yada, yada, yada. That made sure that Bill Guthridge, his longtime assistant, who was about as old as Dean Smith, I think, maybe even older at the time, got the job. In 3 years, he went to 2 Final Fours. He retired after 3 years, and in the middle year, he got bounced in the first round of the NCAA tournament, but that did work out. It was Matt Doherty after him that was a disaster at North Carolina, and then Matt Doherty led to Roy Williams, who sort of became the next Dean Smith of North Carolina. Outside of that, did not work out for Ron Sanchez, one and done at Virginia when this happened a year ago. Jay Wright retired in April. He handed it over to Kyle Neptune. Didn't work out. Hasn't been working out. So, but that was in April. That wasn't right before the season. I say all this to say it's a sneaky move to keep your roster together and make sure your son gets the job. And also, there's not a big precedent for this actually working. Well, and I don't expect this to work that well either. Maybe initially because of the roster, but I think he's going to have a hard time.
Well, and then, part of it is living up to expectations, right? Imagine like Shane Beamer at Virginia Tech. If roles were the same. He's admitted, like, I don't want to be in the shadow of my father, who was great and excellent at what he did. I want to make my own name. In order to do that, you mentioned like going to Mercer and going on, making the round trip up the ladder in college basketball. Stephen Pearl's just done it through Bruce, and he's been successful. He's well liked in the locker room. And what? So Auburn was going back and forth with Pearl over the years about formally writing in Stephen Pearl as the coach in waiting. That never actually happened, but it didn't need to based on the timing. That's why I think the timing of this is because in the contract it doesn't say coach in waiting. But they did sign him to a 5-year contract as the head coach. They were trying to extend Pearl for another year, Bruce, it sounds like. And that didn't happen. He retires. Now it's Stephen Pearl. I mean, which way do you go if you're Auburn, if not this way, at this stage, and try to keep it together? So there would be, there's really no other alternative unless you go with another assistant, which that wouldn't work based on how if Bruce is going to stay on as special advisor. So this is the only route they had, and it's a 5-year deal with an opportunity to continue momentum that you have, and then he has to write his own path. Think about it we're going to see it at UNC football, right? Yeah. With Steve Belichick.
Well, yeah.
I mean, that's written in the contract.
How everything goes down. But, yeah, I mean, and there's always ways to get out of a contract if you need to. So,
but that's the intent.
Well, and Steve Belichick, though, is not going to be taking over a program with that success, right? That you talked about the expectation. Now the expectation at Auburn basketball is that Stephen Pearl, and by the way, I'm joking. I like Stephen Pearl. We've had him on the show before. He's a nice enough guy. But when you go from Bruce Pearl to a guy who's never been a head coach, and at his age, it's a seismic drop-off. And the fans are going to expect the same as Bruce Pearl, right? I really believe they're going to expect there's not going to be a lot of growing pains. He's inheriting the program. He has the players. We're going to have this level of success. In an SEC right now, on 3 listed right before Bruce Pearl retired, the top coaches coming back for this next season.
Okay.
You ready for this list? Todd Golden, number 1, just won a national title at his age. Nate Oates. Bruce Pearl was number 3, by the way. Rick Barnes, number 4. Mark Pope at Kentucky. John Calipari and all of his success. Chris Beard, who got Texas Tech to a national championship game. Sean Miller and all of his success at Xavier, Arizona. I mean, all these guys. Mike White, who's been a long-time head coach. He's not been great at Georgia, but point being, like Mark Byington, who did well at James Madison and did a great job at Vanderbilt in year 1 with his level of experience, is now going to be matched up schematically with Stephen Pearl. How's that going to work? We're going to find out, and if you have the players at times, you can mask a lot of things, and they've got the players right now.
They do, but so does the SEC.
There's not a team you're going to play in the SEC that doesn't have at least one elite player, and most have multiple.
There are, 11? There were how many programs got in? 11?
14.
Oh, 14.
All but 2. I think got in this last year.
The record was 11.
Yeah, the record was 11, and they shattered it last year.
So, I mean,
and there's no off nights.
That's right. It's an NCAA tournament game every game.
Every road game is going to be really tough. There's no sleepwalk through a home game and win. automatically. I mean, it's a very tough competitive league. I wish Stephen Pearl the best. It's just going to be a challenge.
So I'm just racking my brain over it.
And I hope Auburn fans realize it's going to be a challenge. I don't think they do.
On who it will be, like who's the next coach. Normally the coach isn't – the coach, it's perceived that the coach will choose, but then eventually the coach gets fired, or he's forced out at the end, and it doesn't happen this way. So, yeah. I mean, it's hard to pick just one other program like that where it's been successful.
Yeah.
Or if it's certainly not the case with anything Tennessee's done on the sports, right? I'm trying to anything local. No.
The one sort of instance I remember was if you remember here locally, Bobby Johnson at Vanderbilt retired.
Yes.
Right at the start of a season, I think they even practiced a couple times in fall camp. And who was the guy? Was it Robbie Caldwell? Robbie Caldwell was the hand-picked successor who was the offensive line coach at the time, and it was disastrous. It was not a good transition, but that was Bobby Johnson making sure his guy got the job because he knew they wouldn't hire him otherwise.
The one that we both know we know both very well, Rick Byrd and Casey Alexander.
Yeah,
that was a name like a named successor, and a Hall of Fame coach in Rick Byrd at Belmont. So an NCAA team annually.
Yeah, and again, I'm adding to it.
Oh, I know.
Retiring, that would be Rick Byrd retiring in October. Rick Byrd retired the day the season ended in April, and they always knew they could go get Casey Alexander, so they did. And Casey Alexander, I believe, was at a different program. He's at Lipscomb at the time, right?
Yep. But I'm saying it was known that he was coming home.
Yeah, it was known, but
through Rick
this
Byrd.
Is an extra layer to it of I'm going to make sure our roster is here and not leaving and can't leave and is locked in here. And then I'm going to surprise announce a retirement to ensure my guy gets the best possible shot. Because if he does this in April, the way he should have, quite frankly, for all the players on his team, those guys can leave. And they're not doing as well in the transfer portal if they're not signed up to play for Bruce Pearl. So I love Bruce Pearl.
Hey.
If I'm a parent of one of those kids that went there, I'm a little pissed. If I was told, I'm not retiring this year. Because I don't think he went into the living room of the guys he's bringing in the transfer portal and said, there's a chance I'm not going to coach a single game that your son's going to play. Or an incoming freshman. Do you think he actually said that, announced that to anyone that he was recruiting? Of course not.
No. But he would go into going back to Wilbon, he would be going in and discussing things with parents that, maybe if they had a problem with it, they would bring it up in person with him. Well, politically.
He would have asked their take on Hamas?
Yeah,
before recruiting him, you're saying?
Come on. Also, the circumstances way different, but also it fits, is Harbaugh and Sharon Moore. It was always known, he was specifically the interim coach because Harbaugh was setting him up that way, right? But the university also loved him. Bizarre.
Yeah, but again, it was Harbaugh taking a job and not this.
But leaving.
There's a very small sample size. That's why I wanted to look at the ones who had done it. Very small sample size. Now, I read the top of mind basketball examples. Dean Smith doing it at North Carolina, Tony Bennett doing it at Virginia, and now Bruce Pearl doing it at Auburn. We're going to get to the start of the season, I'm going to step away. And then that's going to make sure you have this team and you get the job automatically. It forces the hand of the players, too. Because no one's going to quit now and leave the program to go play for some other legend.
Yeah, but I think they will I think he is like his father in terms of the players like him. Those are all the stories about him at Tennessee whenever he's playing there, and then whenever he's the assistant. From everything I've heard, players liked him. He's a locker room dude.
Players liked him. I will say, and I talked to a few people very close to the situation. The one thing I will warn is that, how do I say this the right way? Stephen Pearl has a tendency to try to act like Bruce, and he's not Bruce. When someone's faking something, and when you don't have the clout of the guy who's won to the level of Bruce Pearl,
well said.
It's tough to pull off the same tirades. So suddenly you get in the face of a player and challenge him, and that player's going to respond very differently than they would to Bruce Pearl.
Adversity.
If he's getting into it. It's not even adversity. It's F you, who the hell are you to talk to me like that? is the response to Stephen Pearl. And when Bruce Pearl does it, it's just another moment in a game that Bruce Pearl is blowing up in a situation, right? Because that's Bruce Pearl. And again,
it's not,
there's no training course for this of going and getting certified as a head coach with clout.
It's just consistency.
You have to do it, and you have to do it over and over again, and you have to get the respect of your players to where they think, okay, now he's the guy. I'm not saying that's his fault necessarily. It's just that's what he's seen. That's what he knows. But when you try to do it as the assistant, it's not always met the same way.
And it's also whenever your players get into a fight on a charter flight to your first road game, how does he handle it? You know, because that happened last year at the start of the year. Well, they're going to Baylor. Is that where they're headed?
They went to Houston, I think.
And Houston, won. That's it. They won at Houston, but they had to turn around and led the plane.
Yeah, and again, that's what Bruce Pearl. That's the atmosphere he wants. He wants dude that plays with fire and edge like that. And Bruce Pearl can rein it back in.
He can go on the road and win.
That's the difference.
And then
we can use this as a positive, and we're not going to blow this thing up internally. But he's always had guys like that and issues like that. But he can mold it to the positive.
Yes.
Can Stephen Pearl control fire that way? We don't know.
That's right.
I don't know. No one knows because he's never been a head coach. But molding that fire to your benefit is something that he's going to have to learn how to do.
Trey Wallace joins us next. You're on Hot Mic.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
6th and Peabody, our location. Yeehaw, Bureau, Smoky Moonshine, Hot Mic, Buddy Withrow, here at OutKick.com. You can also find Trey Wallace's great work there, covering all things college football, and that's who joins us right now.
I look forward to these visits on Tuesdays.
That's right. That's right. Trey, what's up?
Boys, I'm good. Coming off another interesting weekend, I guess we can put it that way in college football. Yeah, lots of chatter out there now about when coaches are going to get fired. So you know how we love this time of year, right?
Yep, it's like it's Groundhog Day. You know,
yeah, I feel like we were having the same conversation a year ago in regards to Billy Napier about a slow start and when is he going to get fired.
And the thing is, like, we're not even talking about Billy like anymore now. We're talking about Sam Pittman in Arkansas, who just happened to he didn't fumble the football, but his team fumbled the football on the 3-yard line, and they lost to Memphis. And I mean, it's crazy, man.
You want to talk about going like 180 degrees and then back 360 with Pittman. You know, it's like we saw this last year a bit. Then Arkansas starts well, and there's some little momentum at Arkansas with Pittman, and now it's back to square one where we were. Where he's on the hot seat. Like last year, they beat Tennessee, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, he's going to keep his job.
And that one win probably did save his job last year. When you look at the whole season, I mean, that was the one that did it. I would say, is Bobby Petrino a realistic option to take over long term if they part ways with Sam Pittman, Trey?
I've been told he is an interim option, meaning that if Sam Pittman is fired within the next 2 weeks, he can take over and run the team for the rest of the year. He's lobbying for it behind the scenes. Now, Sam Pittman might not like that, but at the same time, there has been some whispers about old Bobby trying to at least get that interim tag. And to be honest with you, I think that would work out. I don't think Bobby Petrino is the long-term fit for Arkansas. They need a change of blood. Like, they need something new, fresh, somebody in there that's going to revigorate the program, and especially the NIL fundraising. And I don't think Bobby Petrino is the guy to do it. But, if they had to look, if you needed somebody for 5 games, okay, he would work. At least he knows the Arkansas back roads and whatnot.
It was interesting. It's not like Pittman did not want to hire him. Like that was an outside influence, right? Where he was just like, Petrino's going to be your offensive coordinator.
Yes, it was somewhat of the situation where, hey, either you like this or we're going to do something different. And by the way, like Sam Pittman is content knowing that his future is probably not the Arkansas head coach. Like he's fine with it. He'll probably live on his lake house. He'll be good. Have his big Razorback statue, whatever the hell is in the backyard
all day long.
So
yeah, he'll be fine.
So
pay me my money.
Yeah.
Like that's it.
You've got 2001, Petrino's only season as the Jaguars OC. Takes the Auburn job without telling Tom Coughlin. You have Petrino lying about having contact with Auburn officials. You have Petrino, who's
the old jet,
who said he's not going to be looking to leave the Falcons, and then of course he leaves just abruptly on a Tuesday and gets the hell out of there and goes to Louisville.
Got a motorcycle mixed in there.
Motorcycle in there. Oh, sorry, Arkansas, not Louisville.
Little backwoods road action.
Yeah, and then he ends up at Western Kentucky, and then Louisville again, where they used leaked game plans on special teams.
Yes.
That was
real high character guy.
That a Wake Forest announcer leaked to them.
I mean, the dude can coach some offensive ball. Total piece of shit, right? Yeah. I mean, just from a follow the rules standpoint, even just a basic professionalism along the way of how you conduct yourself or handle yourself trying to get another job or not. Like that's just the track record with Bobby Petrino. We can call it what it is, right?
Yeah, no, we can. I mean, he's just an ass, and that's okay. Like sometimes you need an ass in college football, and sometimes you need an ass that's really good at calling offensive plays as well. But at the same time, like you look at it, it's like, okay, you can't build this for the future. Like I know Arkansas fans are like excited to have him around as an offensive coordinator. That's great, but he can't be your head coach, man. Like there's y'all just ran through a whole list of speed bumps, and we're not talking about the one he hit going down the backwoods of Arkansas.
Well done. And let me also mention Missouri State, UNLV, A&M, now back at Arkansas. I mean, there's other stops throughout the way. But if you're going to go the Petrino route, why not try John Gruden?
Oh, gosh.
See, well, you have to find someone that look, Arkansas is kind of a different job. And I think you guys would both agree with this. You have to go find someone that is going to, it is an injection of life, and meaning you can go out and sell this at the Little Rock Touchdown Club. You can go out and sell this to Tyson Foods. I mean, let's just be honest. The reason why they're not doing as well with NIL fundraising, and you see them partnering with casinos and whatnot, and Hunter Yurachek coming out and saying, "Hey guys, we're not really built for a national championship, but we can compete in the SEC." It's like you don't want to hear that shit. As an Arkansas fan, you want to be able to go out there and compete for titles. So they need to bring somebody in that can get that program just off its ass and alive and have fans excited.
So I'm going to give you a young guy, and it's going to tie into my next question that I think is going to be a good head coach one day at this level. Trey Lamb, who's right now at Tulsa, who went into Stillwater and handled Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy. He's no longer 40. He's still a man, but he is a man that is drowning right now as a head coach. Holy cow. Has that program fallen on hard times, Trey?
Guys, I've never seen a coach get up there. He had a press conference yesterday, Mike Gundy did, on Monday. And he was talking about how he can't wait one day to tell all the stories of everything that happened at Oklahoma State during the NIL era. And he keeps talking about this is the paid era of sports. Guys, we've been paying players for 40 years. Okay, I know it's different and how it's done now, but let's stop acting like this. And and also he can write a book about how many times he tried to leverage other schools to go against Oklahoma State to get more money, and he threatened to leave. I mean, I think he did it to Tennessee twice. So look, this is a coach that, by the way, he's not going to give out any hint that he wants to hang it up. Why? He wants his money as well. He's going to force them to fire him. Remember, he had to restructure his contract. He got a $1 million pay cut last year, and he restructured his contract because he wanted to keep his job at Oklahoma State. Okay, that's fine. But at the end of the day, man, this is a program. Guys, we remember Oklahoma State. Like, we remember the good days. And it's not like we had to go back far. I mean, 4 years ago, I mean, they're competing for Big 12 titles and whatnot. Now Oklahoma State has just turned into a laughing stock. And you see what Trey Lamb did from Tulsa. Trey Lamb, I mean, that was a perfect quote post-game where he comes out and says, you know what, we no longer want to be little brothers anymore. And by the way, we're not going to be on the third page of the Tulsa World Herald, newspaper. It's like, this is fantastic stuff. And I think Trey Lamb, look, you don't have to go far. It's an hour down the road. You can go get him if you want him. But talk about a dagger to what Oklahoma State was doing this past week. And yeah, I agree with you, Withrow. Like, that could be an option they go down because people are going to be very picky about the Oklahoma State situation with T. Boone Pickens no longer around. God rest his soul.
Texas Tech is going to be a problem with Cody Campbell and the money they're spending in the Big 12, so I'm going to put them aside. I'm going to ask you, Trey, though, where does Oklahoma State sit within the Big 12 and the national conversation? Certainly they're not an elite program. No one would ever say that. He over-delivered most years based on expectations for that program. But, Trey, I see plenty of programs that spend less or as much money as Oklahoma State, even now in the Big 12, having great success from year to year. So how much does that excuse float? And when you look at, clearly they're going to go in a different direction, where Oklahoma State sits in the Big 12, what opportunity that brings to the next coach of that program?
I mean, I think you guys might agree with this. It's a top 5 program in the Big 12. I mean, just off name alone. They got the facilities, they got the stadium. They got some NIL fundraising. By the way, that NIL fundraising will be opened up even further once they decide to make a move. And also at the end of the day, you have to look around that conference. Look at this past weekend, Texas Tech and Utah battling it out. Okay. 2 good teams. BYU's in there. UCF is in there. Like, can Scott Frost get things really rolling again back in Orlando? And so you can go down the list. Look what Matt Campbell's doing. So, I mean, I say top 5. I mean, hell, guys, I might be going back on my words here. I mean, I think the problem is you can't just go off name alone anymore. And I think that's something that they're having to come to grips with, because you see what Cody Campbell and Texas Tech are doing. Guys, they're going to go out and spend this amount of money. Now, it's going to be a little bit different next year. They're going to have to find a little different ways, no front-loaded deals and whatnot. But again, we look at the Big 12 and we just can't forget there are a lot of good football teams in there and a lot of teams that have an opportunity to be better. Look what Kenny Dillingham and his squad are doing at Arizona State. So I said all that to say this. Maybe it's maybe a top 7 program. But at the end of the day, and look, does Colorado ever turn it around with Deion again? Like, are we going to talk about them more? Or is he done after this season? Which I think he's done after this season. But at the end of the day, guys, they've got a situation in Stillwater where they have an opportunity to get back to that spot. But, man, there's a lot of money floating around that conference and around Stillwater.
What did you make of the common opponents for the SEC and how they announced it and the rotation?
I thought, look, I thought it was well thought out. I thought that, look, I had seen these teams back at SEC spring meetings when the ADs were arguing back and forth about what they should be and where they should go. Like, they've known about, I think, the opponents for a while now. But I think overall, like, it worked out. Like, Vanderbilt, good Lord, God love you. Like, you kind of hit one with that.
Well, they have Tennessee, Auburn, and Kentucky?
Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Which
Trey's frozen, so we'll reset.
And we're seeing that. And we're seeing that. I'm sorry. We're seeing it with different schools, guys, where you're having to give up big time rivalries just to be able to hold on to the ones that you know are going to fit for the long term. So I liked it. I think tonight is going to be very interesting. When is Texas A&M finally going to go to host Georgia? When's that going to happen? I think you'll see that tonight. I think that's going to happen. I think when you look at it, we preserved the rivalries that I think mean the most, but at the same time, it pissed me off that we don't get Alabama, LSU anymore. What's up with LSU, Florida? Is that not a thing? Auburn, LSU used to be it, but I think the problem is, guys, somebody that grew up on these rivalries, in the 90s, early 2000s, we're going to have to move past that a little bit and realize we're just in this different era. So I guess we can't complain as much, but tonight will be interesting because I think there are some matchups that have been kind of wavering for the last few years. And I think we're going to get those nailed down. And just remember, this is going to be a rotational thing. You're going to host one of these schools over the next 4 years. You'll be fine. But at the end of the day, I think the SEC got it right and they preserved the right games. But I think there were 1 or 2 that they probably should have had on the schedule.
Trey, I told you last week I just had a hard time getting excited about Indiana and Illinois playing as a top 20 matchup. And then I watched the game, and I was expecting something close, at least, even though I wasn't very excited about it. And instead, it's Indiana, I guess, announcing to everyone that they are one of the better teams in the country again this year. Is that the truth coming out of that game? Is it the story about how bad Illinois was? What do you think about Curt Cignetti in Indiana, which maybe we were sleeping on them a little bit with all they had coming back and some of the transfers they added after last year?
I want Indiana fans to not take my words out of context here when I say this. Indiana beat the holy hell out of Illinois, but Illinois in no way in the world deserved to be ranked number 9th in the country. I think we can all, even Indiana fans would agree with that. Hell, you just
Illinois fans would agree with that. After
right,
that
you just beat them by
performance.
53 points.
Yeah.
What it does is at the end of the year, you're going to have that win over the 9th ranked team. You're going to be able to look at that and say, well, they're 9th ranked at the time. That's also, that's on you. I think Indiana with Mendoza, goodness gracious, that offense was going crazy. I love Curt Cignetti. He's got this word attack written on like his arm, like he was just not in the fourth quarter, let's run the ball out. Oh, hell no. We're going to beat the mess out of Illinois. I think right now, Indiana is that team again that folks don't know what to do with. So that's why they were ranked where they were ranked heading in. It's the same thing with Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt, where the college football folks that have been doing it for a long time and the AP voters, and I try not to give them too much credit, but you kind of, it's like, okay, where do we put these guys? And I think looking at that defense, I think looking at that offense, okay, that's a stellar team. Now, here's the thing. You got to go on the road to Iowa this week. At the same time, Indiana fans are praying that Illinois beats USC on Saturday, which is going to help their strength of schedule moving forward. And so can they afford one loss in the college football playoff conversation and be out? Well, it depends on what that loss and who it's to. But at the same time, man, this is like a football team, guys, that has figured out something in Bloomington. And now I think they're going to be a problem for years to come. I love Curt Cignetti as the head coach, guys.
Finally, Trey, give us your early thoughts on Bama, Georgia.
I think Alabama's going to come out and surprise folks on Saturday. I'm not saying they're going to win. Please don't hold that to me on a Tuesday. But I think this game is going to be really good. I think Alabama, there was an awakening in Tuscaloosa after getting their ass beat by Florida State. I think, and look, trust me, I'm not trying to compare what their schedule's like and the 2 cupcakes they just ate. But Ty Simpson looks more comfortable. Do they get Jam Miller back this week running the football? Georgia showed weaknesses. We all saw it against Tennessee on the defensive side of the ball. Can Alabama make them pay for that? We're going to find out. I think this is a good game, and I think Vegas got it right with the spread sitting around 3 points. I can't wait to be down in Athens this weekend to cover that one. And I think a night game, man, this is going to have everything to it. And Alabama will be in this game for 4 quarters.
Trey, always great, man, and we look forward to catching up with you on the podcast. I
look forward to it, guys. Hope you want to have a great week.
Yeah,
Thank you.
There's Trey Wallace, OutKick.com's senior college football reporter. Chad, Stephen A., contractually, has put in a lot of things with what he's hosting, what he's a part of at ESPN, right? Maybe he should add Project Runway to this. We discuss that next.
Football's finally back. So's the hard-hitting gridiron action on Prize Picks. Download Prize Picks and use code OutKick and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Sixth and Peabody, our location. Yeehaw Beer, Old Smoky Moonshine, Hot Mike, Gutman Withrow, here at OutKick.com. Chad, it's not appointment viewing for me. I'll be honest. The Monday Night Countdown.
Yeah, which seems to last about 6 hours. I feel like I'm home in the afternoon and I just turn on the TV and it's just some version of NFL Countdown on. I feel like all day.
Well, for what they're paying for that,
they got a lot of moving parts
and
there.
they fly a lot of people in for that too.
They got Joe Buck's wife as part of it.
Yes,
is on the sideline. They go, we're going to go to Michelle Beisner Buck next. I'm like, what?
I'm glad you bring this up because it's a very limited role, right? It's like a feature, and that's it.
I saw her on camera one time, and she was interviewing Jason Kelsey, I think, at one part of the field or something like that.
Okay. Well, you got Kelsey who's doing all, whatever. He's a part of the band or whatever, right? Is he doing all that?
I watch it, Hutton, and they're in so many different portions of the field.
I know.
I'm thinking, is that ever get annoying for the people warming up or game day ops? Because I feel like it's a game to see how many different people we can trip up around corners of the end zone or at midfield, because we're going to go everywhere we can.
They're at every corner of the field. Yet for the NBA Finals, they're up in the rafters.
Guys, we don't have a shot at the 25-yard line yet. Let's go there next.
Yeah.
Let's get Ryan Clark and Michelle Beisner-Buck at the 25. It's the one spot on the field we haven't been yet.
We're in Baltimore. Let's go to midfield on the Raven and piss off everyone.
Yeah, they're like 10 yards apart from Jameer Gibbs when he's just in his workout gear, warming up before the game, doing a pregame interview with him.
Yeah. So they go all out. You're right.
It's a lot going on.
Stephen A's not a part of it. He now is a part of it. He's getting the reaction that I think if you're pro Stephen A, you feel at home, and if you're anti Stephen A, well, it's first take all over again, which is what ESPN's going for. They want a snippet of that. That's what he's paid to do. He's paid handsomely to be Stephen A. Smith. But you've got MJD, Baltimore MJD. Stephen A's ruined the Monday Night Football countdown. He's turned it into first take. I purposely don't watch that bullshit because everything is about viral clips and clickbait. Don't want to listen to it on a pregame show. That's their goal. And the clickbait. If you're walking by a television and you're like, man, you don't even it's background. Certainly going to pay attention to this suit.
That thing is well tailored, but it's Barney purple.
Oh, that's
the perfect replica of Barney.
Yes, you're right. It is a fuchsia. Is that what you would say?
Yeah, is he trying to blend in with the purple? It's not Ravens purple, but kind of trying to blend in with the crowd.
Right. In October, you could say it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But he's getting crushed for this, and because he's getting the feedback that I felt like McAfee got his first year on college football coverage, right?
Well, yeah. And so if we go back, let's go back to that first X post with the person saying, I don't want first take on my countdown. Yeah, the clickbait stuff. Like if we show that, okay. At Baltimore _MJD, you are exactly why Stephen A. Smith is there. Because you had this passionate of a response to Stephen A. Smith on a pregame show that no one talks about. That Hutton and I don't spend a lot of time watching, that a lot of people don't. Like, that is what ESPN wants.
Well,
for you to have a strong opinion one way or the other. And if that strong opinion is negative, ESPN wins. They won. They beat you.
Well,
because you had this response to it.
Is he saying that
that's exactly what they want?
It wasn't this with Ryan Clark?
I don't know what Ryan Clark does on the pregame show as opposed to what dumb shit he says on the morning show, so maybe he's different.
Well, it's virtually the same, though. I'm saying, it's still Ryan Clark.
Of course.
So Stephen A's there because he's got the highest rated show.
Well, he's there because they're paying him a shit ton of money, too.
Well, he asked to do it.
Yes.
He asked to do this.
But if you're ESPN and I'm going to pay somebody this much and they're willing and want to go do every possible show on the road and travel all the time and do everything on set, you're damn well going to send them to do it. So I understand ESPN's thinking here, and then people have a strong response to it.
This isn't just an ESPN sole idea, like their own idea, and no one else is following it. Every network does this with their own guy. There's always the version of Stephen A. or what you're trying to accomplish where it is about clips and viral videos and social media takes. That's just what they're looking for. Portnoy is not on there to dissect, the ground attack of Michigan on a weekly basis. He's a different segment of the show.
So they want a clip of him.
You're getting what you like. You get a version of everything that you want. And if you want Stephen A. Smith, you get it. If you don't like him, you're watching it to get pissed off at him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's what they're looking for. And then they clip it, and they clip the parts that you will click on.
Yeah, welcome to Engagement Farming 101 in 2025.
And I'll say this too, and this goes without saying. The guy is always prepared. it's not like he shows up and just just throws stuff against the wall and see what sticks. I mean, he's always well-versed on whatever he's talking about. In terms of the sports knowledge and inside information, he's got someone he's talked to form an opinion that you may not like, but one that I'm willing to listen to because I know he's not just making it up to be this controversial take and clickbait artist. Now, he cranks it up to 11. That part is sometimes manufactured. Because you can watch an interview that he's done with Clay Travis on his podcast, and you get Stephen A. just chatting.
Well, watch the debate they did with Front Office Sports.
Okay, yeah. And then,
I watched the whole thing, and honestly, and I told Clay this, it's a rare thing where two people debated, and I come away from the debate liking both of you a lot more.
Okay, now watch
than I did before. Now that's a hard thing to do.
Now watch him debate Dan Orlovsky on First Take.
Yeah.
Different version, right? The TV version, Steve, is what you're getting here. But either way, it's not like the guy is just looking for some salacious take to get people riled up. It's not. But even
Ryan
if he, Clark and RG3.
Yeah, even if he does, it's usually well researched or he has thought behind it.
Right. I'm not saying I agree with everything,
and he's doing that. Yeah, and again, like the Ryan Clark thing, that guy I don't like, quite frankly, and I hate what he said to Peter Schrager and all that, and completely stand against that. But if you're telling me that Stephen A. Smith went on Monday Night Countdown and just derailed the conversation and said, you know what I want to talk about is Bruce Pearl and how I hope he was pushed out the way Michael Wilbon did, then I think we got something there that's bad. Let's not bring that into Monday Night Countdown. But ESPN bringing Stephen A. Smith on set for Monday Night Countdown is good for business. Whether you like it or not, it's good for business. I don't think that's going to turn people away that are watching that show already. And again, like I look at it,
it's not like they replace Scott Van Pelt.
If you're going to pay insane amounts of money for someone in me, I do not understand this for the life of me. Like if you're going to make a huge investment in someone, then let them invest back in you. Let them do their job. Let them go on as many shows as possible. Let them run shit. Ask their advice on things of how to do it. Like companies don't do enough of that. So I'm not going to bash ESPN for paying a ton of money. I backed up the Brinks truck for Stephen A. Smith, and Stephen A. Smith saying, you know what I want to do? I want to do more to help
Put me on the show.
He said this with Clay in the debate. You should be asking, how can I help my company make money? And Stephen A. Smith has always been of that mindset, so I want to go do as much as possible and be on and be as visible as possible. If he's willing to do that and that's what he wants, and he's not being a diva about it behind the scenes, abso-freaking-lutely put him on Monday Night Countdown.
Yep.
Good job, ESPN.
Yeah, and again, this is the reaction.
Yes.
Now, he's wearing the suit on purpose.
Let the talent be talent if they want to do it.
He's doing that to gain the reaction.
I don't pretend to know fashion.
Well,
maybe this is a good look. I don't know. It's not for me.
Well, I mean,
I watched the daggum Sunday night, Football Night in America, the Runway show, with people coming in. I'm like, this guy looks like he's wearing a kimono. Walking in, and Maria Taylor's telling me it's hot. I don't know what's up. I don't know what's going on with any of this shit.
Personally, I haven't been walking down the street and seen anything that's been a woman walks down a runway wearing a trash bag. I don't see that. But ooh,
look at this. This is an urban cowboy look tonight for Bills. I'm like,
I'm wearing tinfoil. Look at me.
Yeah. Guy walks in wearing assless leather chaps.
Yeah.
And they're all going crazy over it. Like, this is exactly what they should be wearing tonight.
That's a charter flight in the NFL as you get on.
Right.
I would always call that Project Runway.
Yeah. Look at Travis Kelce in 70s cosplay.
Yeah.
With a mustache.
Look at Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, looking like a 70s porn star with a chain. What a great look for him. What?
I mean, Tyreek Hill did say...
Why is it Halloween every day of the year for NFL players?
I mean, again, we don't pretend to know fashion, though. Maybe that's a good look. Yeah,
I'm going to wear a Canadian tuxedo tonight and have Maria Taylor gush over it.
Oh.
Again, that's why I don't even dip in these waters. That could have been the greatest suit of 2025.
Days like today.
Stephen A. Smith was wearing, but I look at it and think, that not for me.
Yeah, days like today where we miss the late Joan Rivers in the segment, Bitch Stole My Look.
Yep. We need to have a Bitch Stole My Look on this. It's just dudes in a collared polo shirt or a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Damn it, that Josh Pate stole my look again.
Just the T-shirt.
Exact same outfit.
Oh, a fun show today. We are back at it for the Wednesday edition. Primary complaint will be ready to go.
I do think a fashion segment would do well on this show.
Instead of bitch somebody like what
We give our version of the Maria Taylor NBC countdown of guys walking into the stadium, and we just give our initial impression.
we could have a WNBA one called Butch Stomola.
Good. Yeah, there we go. Boom. That's how we end it right there. Walk
Butch
off from
Stomola.
Hutton.
Back at it, 11 a.m. right here, Hot Mic at OutKick.